So I want everyone to just think for a second about a world without language, any type of language. You're not able to form like sentences or speak to anyone like I am to you right now. Just think for a second. Language is a cognition that truly makes us human, meaning that language is the one thing that really sets us apart from everything else and every other species. Whereas, take birds for example, they chirp to communicate with one another, and we speak and talk and make sentences to communicate with one another, and we understand what we're saying to each other, whereas birds don't understand what we're saying to each other. Same as when the birds chirp, other birds know what they're saying, and we don't know what they're saying. So today we'll be talking about language acquisition, and some of you might be sitting here like, what the heck is that? Well, language acquisition is the process by which humans require the capacity to perceive and comprehend language, as well as to produce and use words in sentences to communicate to one another. So to break that down a little, this would mean when you're really young and just beginning to start forming your own sentences and understanding what others are trying to say to you, you think when your mom says, "Okay, sweetie, we're going on a walk," you don't really know what she's trying to tell you until you might be getting a little older. And then by that time, you might be able to say to your mother, "Mom, we're going on a walk." So that would mean that you now comprehend and you can produce words to communicate. I mean, really, when you think about it, the ability to do this is remarkable in itself. And what makes it even more remarkable is that researchers are starting to find and put together evidence for this mastery of complex skill to comprehend and produce these sentences and communicate with others as early as even 12 months. And they have reported sensitivity to the grammar needed to understand causative sentences, meaning who did what to whom. And an example of that would be the bunny pushed the frog. So after 60 years of research into child language development, the mechanism that enables children to put syllables together to make words out of the strings of sounds that they've heard since birth and to acquire grammar to understand and produce language is still quite an enigma. So one of the earliest scientific explanations of language acquisition was provided by Skinner in 1957. And as one of the pioneers of behaviorism, he accounted for language development by means of environmental influence, meaning if you were to compare it to nature versus nurture, he focused more on the nature. He also argued that children learn language based on behaviorist reinforcement principles by associating words with meanings. Meaning that if you teach your child words and teaching them how to form sentences and communicate with one another, you're teaching them a word with the meaning. So he thinks that you learn that way. For example, you teach your child how to form words and sentences by giving them a word and the meaning, rather than giving them a word and trying to have them catch on as to what you're talking about. Now, for those of you who are still awake and paying attention, especially you parents out there might be thinking to yourself, how can I impact my child's language development more efficiently? And the first piece of advice I can give you is to just relax and just know that every baby is going to develop slower or faster than others, and that's okay. But parents do play a critical role in a child's language development, and studies have shown that babies who are spoken to and read to throughout their early childhood do grow up to have better vocabularies and better grammar than to those who don't. And the best advice I can give to you parents are these 9 things. So the first one is just make sure that you talk. Make sure that you narrate the day as it just goes on, and just kind of let them know like what's going on, what you're gonna do for the day. For instance, you can say, now we're gonna take a bath. Can you feel the warm water on your belly? And once we dry off, we'll go take a walk. The next piece of advice I can give you is to just make sure that you read with your child. It's never too early to read to your baby, and one good predictor of future reading success is the amount of time you spend reading with your child. And parents can even start with simple board books and then graduate to picture books and maybe even longer stories as your child gets older. And story times at the local library or bookstore also help a preschooler develop a love of books. One of the more enjoyable things I can tell you to do, especially for the parents, would be to enjoy music together. Young children love music and movement, and when they listen to lively songs like Old MacDonald Had a Farm, The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round, maybe even a little Kanye, they learn about the world around them and the rhythm of language. Also, make sure that you tell stories. Make an elaborate story with characters, conflict, some adventure, and of course, what every Disney movie has, a happy ending. And be sure that your stories fit your child's interests and aren't too scary for their liking. It's actually very important that you follow your child's lead. And if your little one seems to be interested in a particular picture, in a book maybe, just keep talking about it. And if she seems more intrigued by a boat, look up pictures of boats and show her more boats, maybe some videos, and talk about those too. And also make sure to repeat her babbles back to her. Maybe ask her some questions and just interact with her. And you can even try recording your child and playing it back so they can hear what they sound like. Another very important one is to make sure that you never criticize your child's articulation or speech patterns. Instead, repeat his statements back to him with the correct word usage or pronunciation. And also make sure to give your child a lot of praise for his efforts. He's just starting out. Make sure to use television and computers or any type of technology, whether it be your phone, an iPad, or a laptop to watch videos on, really anything with a screen, make sure to use it sparingly. While some educational programs can be beneficial to kids, TV shows don't interact and respond with children, which are the 2 catalysts kids need to learn language. Computer games are interactive, but they don't respond to a child's ideas. Make sure to keep your child as healthy as possible with both nutrition and, for example, if they do get an ear infection, that could potentially damage or set them back in their language development skills. If they have an ear infection, make sure to take them to the doctor or the pediatrician, and if they do give you an antibiotic, make sure to give them the correct dosage and use it for the suggested amount of time. And if you take care of your child, they'll have proper language development. This one is a major key. Go on field trips with your children, whether it be a trip to the zoo, the aquarium, or even a children's museum. It'll open up a whole new world for your child. And even as an added bonus, she'll ask about all the fascinating names of the creatures that you saw, maybe at the zoo or the aquarium, and she'll want to talk about her experience with you too. And number 10, just a little added bonus that I thought I'd give to all of you. Some advice from me to you. I just want you to know that your baby will make it. But it's up to you to make sure of that. So talk to your children. Let your spouses talk to your children. Whoever it may be, talk to your children. And just know that whatever happens, they will be just fine. Well, I hope, if not all of you, most of you got something out of the however many minutes and seconds it's been that I've been standing here talking to you. And if not, you've had a few minutes to catch up on your sleep. Thank you.